Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another webinar on order flow related topic. Today, we are going to discuss about COT indicator that we created. Hope you all can hear my voice and see my screen as well. Okay, that's great. Okay, so we have already discussed a lot about what the delta is all about. Okay, so in this case, it is slightly a variation of delta. Is nothing is called COT. I will explain the concept all about, and then give you more details about how you can calculate this. What is the advantage of using this particular data? How you can interpret this data, and all those things. So just to give you an example, we all know, those who already attended the order flow webinar in the past, we all know what is delta. Okay, the delta is nothing but the, if at all in this particular candle, if there were, let's take it any candle, for example, this candle, if there were 3,750 lots traded on the in total, 1,718 lots were traded by the buyers at market, and 2,032 lots were traded at sellers at market, with a net delta of 314. Okay, so that is the delta of the entire bar. Okay, so now what we do in the case of COT? So we calculate two data points, that is two delta values. Okay, but with a different starting point. Okay, so what in a real-time scenario, I will explain in for the closed candle first, and then I will explain in a real-time scenario as well. So if you look at this particular bar, the same bar that I spoke about, which had a 314 negative delta, we had a candle starting at 42,543.3 is the open price. And then the market, I don't know whether the market went up early or later. Let us see that as well. Okay, so then the price of the high of this particular candle was 42,547, and the low was 42,470.30. Now, how do we calculate the COT low and COT high? So you can see there are two values here. COT, this left side is for COT low and right side is for COT high. So let's look at how the calculation is. So for this, I need to look at the time and sale information. So you can see the time and sales information. How I did that, I just clicked on the time and sales bar here. And when I click here, this information is visible here. In this, I'm looking for a tick direction. Okay. So we had a high at 42,547.95. Let's look at where that particular data point is all about. So I think it happened at the start of the bar. Let me look at this. Or let's do one thing. I will put this information on a smaller time frame. That will be easier for us to understand, so that you can do this better. Instead of 5 minutes, I will just do 1 minute interval. And I will enable this data. I will add an indicator. This will be easier for us to understand because we have less values. Okay, so now with this, we can see exactly where all the market was and the entire bar. So in this particular bar, if you see, there is a delta of the COT values. Let's look at some bar which is neutral bar according to me. So let's look at this particular bar. Okay. Yeah, this bar. Okay. So here in this particular case, we had a 634 lots traded in a minute. Okay. Out of that, 289 lots were traded by the buyers at market, 345 lots traded by sellers at market, and net delta of 56 lots. Okay. So if you go here, you can see COT 45 and COT minus 67. So obviously, being a negative candle, you will see normally a negative COT high, and in a positive candle, you normally see a positive COT low. So now let's look at this. The high for this particular bar was 42,326.9. So if you go here, you can see this is the value. This is the time, like 324.04. At this particular time, the new high for the day was made. So what we do now, when we calculate the delta, we add all the up values and deduct the negative down values up to the close of that particular interval. So if I calculate all these values, I leave these two values because these two values are not important for us because this was not the high for the day. Okay. So I calculate this value all the way up, and I mean, because if I do it, okay, I did it in a ascending order. So you can see that 42,326.90, the high was made at this level. Now, if you go down and calculate all these values, okay, and total it up, so we will get a value 67. Okay, minus 67. That means from the high, the total delta was negative 67. Similarly, if you see the low on this particular bar was 42,315.10. So we can find out where exactly that value is, and you can see this value is here. So all these values are not important for us in calculation of COT low. So what we do is we calculate the delta from here till the close. So that is how the calculation of COT is done. If you have any questions, I would like to clarify here itself. So anybody can ask a question. Hope this is clear. Okay, the name of COT is nothing but it's called commitment of traders. Okay. Now this particular commitment of traders is different from the commitment of traders report published by CFTC. CFTC is nothing but Commodity Trading Futures Trading Commission in the US, wherein just like how our exchanges declare the FII data, or SEBI declares FII and DII data, exactly like that, we have a CFTC report called the Commitment of Traders Report. And that particular report is published on every Friday. And the data is lagged by almost 3 days because the data is from Wednesday till Tuesday, published on a Friday evening. Okay. So this is a completely different report, but it is something, that particular report is something similar to the FII DII report published in India, wherein there are three categories in this: commercials, non-commercials, and non-reportable small traders. So based on their positions, the information is published. So if you want to know more about it, you can go and search for commitment of traders, and you'll be able to understand in detail about it. Whereas in this case, we are looking at the commitment of traders from the highs and lows. Okay. So any bar, when we want to identify what is the commitment of traders from the high till the close and from the low till the close. So that is how the calculation of COT is done. And I explained it briefly how the calculation is done. So let me once again check the questions here, and I will check 1 second. Okay, so let's look at, again, I will explain this particular concept once again so that you will be able to understand. Let's assume you have this particular bar. You can see this bar that I have highlighted. It had 634 lots traded. So if you add up all the trades that are done in this particular bar, you will get 634 lots traded. Okay. Now, what is highlighted in red are somebody sold at market, and what is highlighted in the green are somebody bought at market. That is also, I think. Now, when you add up all this, we get the net delta. So in this particular case, the delta is 56, which if you attended the past order flow webinars, you know what is delta is all about. Okay, so again, this delta is nothing but the quantity traded by the buyers minus the quantity traded by the sellers. So we already know that this particular candle had a negative delta, which means the sellers were more in control. Okay. Now we are trying to identify from the time the new high for the day high for that particular interval was made. I'm talking about interval, not for the entire session. Okay, so when I'm looking at 1 minute data, I'm looking at the high of that particular interval and a high of that particular low of that interval. So where that high was made at 324.04 at this particular time. Okay, so if you add up all the lots that are traded, which are green, and minus that with all the lots that are traded, which are in red, we will get a value minus 67, which means from the time high was made till the close of that particular interval, there were 67 lots more sellers were there. Okay, as compared to the delta of only minus 56. Okay. So similarly, we also want to look at what is the delta from the low of that particular candle. So from the time the low was made, if you look at the low was made at the close of the bar, probably at 324.56. Okay, the low value was, 51, sorry. 42,351, 15.10 at this particular. So if you add up, now it's very easy for us to add this 2 plus 5 is that we add up. These are down bars. So we had negative 7 lots, and then we have 37 plus 6, 43, 44, and 52. 52 minus 6. So we have 40. 52 minus 7, we have 45 positive delta. From the low, if you till the close, there were more buyers, and from the high till the close, there were more sellers. So that is the meaning of COT high and low. Now, how to interpret this particular data? So as you know that now, you know that if in a normal circumstances, what will happen? Now let me go back to the bigger interval itself. Because just for calculation purpose, I kept 5 minutes. But ideally, I would like to see this particular data not in 1 minute or 5 minute interval. I would prefer to look at the data in 15 minute or above interval, so that we get a better idea about what the trend is all about, whether we are able to identify any trapped buyers or sellers, all this information. So let's look at, in a normal scenario, what happens. If the delta is negative, we always see a candle also more often negative candle. Okay, so that means the close will be lower than the open. Okay, if the delta is positive, we see that the candle is positive most of the time. Okay, so where the close will be higher and the open will be low. So this gives us an indication that there were more buyers in the bullish candle, and in a bearish candle, there were more sellers. Now, what we want to identify is where we want to identify from the low how many more buyers were there or sellers were there, or from the high whether there were more buyers or sellers were there. So that is the idea of COT indicator. So now if you look at this in a bearish bar scenario, we see negative delta of or negative COT value high. On the right side is the high value of 303 lots, which means what happened after the market made a high till the close, market had a lot of sellers in this particular 15-minute bar. Okay, so from the low till the close. Because the candle was closed at the middle of the bar, we could have seen some kind of a buying interest at the low of that particular bar. And closer to this particular bar, we saw some kind of a buying as this thing. And in this case, we are seeing there were more buyers as compared to sellers. So this is a normal circumstance. In a normal condition, we will always see a positive low. If the candle is positive, we will see a positive low value, COT low value, and a negative COT high value. In a condition where the candle is red, we will see negative, very high negative COT high, and a positive value of COT low. That is the normal circumstances wherein we have not colored anything out here. So we just showing this information. If it is a negative bar, we show this information on top. If it is a positive bar, we show this information at the bottom. So, okay. But what we need to identify here is, now I don't need this time and sales information. What we need to identify is the possible trend that is developing. Okay. So in that case, what happens is that if the market is turning negative, like if you look at this particular today's session in particular, when the start of the session, we saw a lot of buying interest. Okay, there were till the close of this, both COT low and COT high was in the green, which is something which indicates that on the first bar there were a lot of buying interest, and market opened at a gap, and then continued to move higher and close somewhere on the positive side. But soon after, what happened? You saw a selling across both the values. You can see from the high till the close, from the low till the high, there were more sellers. This is an indication that there is a strong resistance at the high levels. So this is the first clue that you got in a case where both these COT low and COT high were on the negative side, which is an indication that market is finding sellers at higher levels. Okay. Second thing that you see here is, here again, you see a negative candle. Again, this is very, very crucial. This is where we identify the possible trapped buyers. What exactly mean by that? So you see that there is a positive delta, which is, if it is a positive COT value, which is quite common in any circumstances, whether when the market is going up from this level to this level, there's ideally you will see a positive delta anyway. So positive COT value is definitely a possibility. However, what you see here is that on the upside also you see a positive delta. From the high till the close also you see a positive delta. But what happened to the candle? Candle closed in negative. This is where we identify the possible trapped buyers around these levels. Now, this is also a bearish signal for us. So that is why it is shown on the upside of it. So if at all it's a bearish candle, we have a positive delta out here. That is the possible trapped buyers around these levels. So next bar, again, it's a normal candle. There's no much this thing. So if you go by the delta, obviously there is a divergence. But this is, if you look at the COT values, if it's a negative candle, we have a negative COT high, which is a common thing, and a positive COT low is also common thing. Again, we saw both the values, COT values are in negative once again, which is an indication that there are sellers around this level and market is likely to move lower. So now, as you go down, you see some kind of a support. Here we see, again, we saw this as a trapped buyers, right? Here we saw this as trapped buyers. Okay. Now here we identify there are trapped sellers because it's a positive candle. I mean, it's a very small positive candle. Okay. And both the values are negative out here. So which is an indication that somebody sold heavily in this particular candle, but market closed higher. Even then, if you look at both the values of COT high and COT low, both were in negative. So there is a possibility that there are a lot of strapped sellers out here. Okay. So this is where you can identify this value of trapped buyers and trapped sellers. Again, we see a normal candle out here, normal candle out here with the similar thing. Here you see a very high COT value, okay, which is an indication that this particular candle is dominated by the sellers. So you can see that also reflected in the delta itself also, okay. So here again you see another strong selling that is happening where the COT low as well as COT high is very dominant out here. So from the sell low till the high till the close, and from the high till the close, there were more sellers in this particular bar. So this is a sign of a weakness. So if I have to draw some bars here, I will do this. So this is a sign of weakness around this level as well. Market, again, we see a normal scenario where we have a negative COT high with a bearish candle. Again, we saw one more round of selling at this level. These are all indications of a possible selling that is happening in this particular bar. As you go along, you see again normal candle. Again, so now you see some kind of a buying interest. Here, this is again a normal candle because we have a positive close with a very high COT low values and a negative COT low values, high values. Okay, because from the high till the close, because it closed at the highs of that particular interval, it is quite obvious that we will see more COT low positive values and more COT low negative, less COT negative values. Again, another regular candle where we have a positive COT low and a negative COT high. We saw one more possible weakness here, again with the strong selling, where we saw the COT high and COT low also in this particular bar. So which means that at this level, there will be a strong selling interest in this particular product. So if you see again some kind of a divergence, again we see a small positive candle, whereas this is again a trapped sellers, right? So this is the same scenario we are witnessing out here, where we have a trapped seller out here. Okay, we see again a selling here. We see a normal candle, we see a normal candle, we see again a positive, some kind of a strength around this level where we see a positive candle, and also both values are COT low and COT high are in positive. But however, if we look at this on the last 15 to 30 minutes, okay, this is a 15-minute interval. So yeah, maybe up to this particular bar, you can consider this last bar. I can't say anything about it because it's a closing session. A lot of people may be liquidating, even the brokers may be exiting their MIS positions. So it's very difficult to tell anything about this particular candle. So this is how the COT is calculated, how it is interpreted in Quantower. This particular indicator is already there in the version 1.0.65 beta version. So if you have any questions, I would like to take those questions and answer them. So I think I more or less explained the concept of COT, how it is calculated, how to interpret this particular values that we color coded it. So let me take some questions one by one. Okay, so let's look at the questions. What is COT? I already explained. Can you explain it again? I already done that. I think these are all questions. Can you show the bar details, how it is embedded? It is here. You click on the time statistics and you will be able to see the information. You can add all this information into the bar if you want to, and the values can be, the name of those data points are visible on the right side of. I am not getting COT indicator as well as whether it's the best 1 minute or any time frame. COT indicator is already there in version 1.0.65. If you right click, add indicators, search for COT. Under default, you will see COT high-low indicators. Don't go by the custom. This default, it is available. It is best used in a higher time frame. Ideally, I would say you can look at 15-minute time frame as the minimum time frame that you can look at. Okay, I think already shown you how to add the indicator. Okay. Now, there is a question regarding how it is coming, how it is calculated in a real-time scenario. So I would like to take that as well. So let me put that same 1 minute bar once again. So let's assume let's assume any of these candle. Okay. So I will sort this in ascending order. So when the first bar starts, first tick comes for this particular bar, we will have a same COT high and COT low as same values like 13, 13. Okay. What happens next? We make a new high. So we calculate a 71 as the COT value positive. After this, we do not make a new high. Again, we make a new high. So we add 71 plus 13. So we will, now we have a COT value, which is 71 plus 13, which is 84. Okay. Next bar, we do not have a, a new low or new high, but we will have to still calculate the value from the low and the high. So our COT low value will be 13 plus 10. Okay, sorry, 13 is plus minus 10. So because it's a down value, so our COT low will be 3. Okay, and our COT high will be 71 plus 13 minus 10. Okay, so as and when the market makes a new high, the suppose in, like, in this case, what happens? It makes a new high, right? Here and it makes a new low. Previous low was 42,299. It makes a new low here, which means now we are discarding all the calculated values of COT low, and we have a new COT starting point, which is 7. Okay. If the market goes down further, suppose if it goes down to, I don't think it goes to 90. Okay. So market goes down to almost, is the low here? Sorry, 86. Okay. What is 86? Sorry, not 86, 97.35. So this is the low that we saw. 97.70, 97.35. So when the price touches this level, all those calculations that we did for COT low is discarded, because we will start calculating fresh from this point onwards. Same way, if you see the value of high in this bar, the high was 42,309. So for us, from the time this makes a new high, we will recalculating the COT high values. Okay. So again, I think I cleared the concept once again. COT is available for all subscribers who are having volume analysis and all-in-one package. Is this point post-facto analysis, or is this a real-time or actually usable in? Absolutely, these values are plotted on a real-time basis, so you can use these values in real time. So can I get recording of the last 3 sessions? So we do not put those recordings at this point of time. Very soon we will make this available for all our paid subscribers through a secured channel. We will let you know about it. But we conduct webinars regularly, so you can attend those webinars. COT, see, okay, so high COT acts as a support or resistance. Is there a specific value to look at from an entry and exit point of view? Not really. You don't have to look, since we are already looking at a higher time frame, the values are very high already. Okay, so what you need to look at in this particular case is the resistance is where if there are both the COT high and low values are negative, that is a resistance for you. And if both the values are positive, is a on the bottom of this particular thing, it's is a support for you. So whenever you see this particular information, you see whenever there is a both the values are negative, that is where the strong resistance or there are possible sellers at these levels. And if there are if both the values are positive, that can act as a support for you. But also you'll also see the trapped buyers and trapped sellers. That is what I pointed out, where wherein you'll see this red color forming at the bottom. Both the it's very easy to identify again. Ideally, both the red values that are plotted of COT negative values should be performing on the top of the bar. But if they are forming at the bottom of that bar, which means that there are trapped sellers. Okay, same way, if there are the positive values should be forming at the bottom of this bar, whereas if they're formed at the top of the bar, which means that there are trapped buyers. So simple logic here. So see, this is a way to initiate a trade. So this is an additional tool that we have in orderflow, which you can use it as a tool to identify the possible resistance and support levels. Now you know that if you consider this is a strong resistance bar, so you can decide where exactly you would like to take an entry depending on your risk. We do not recommend where exactly you need to take a trade. So the entire thing here is this is where the resistance is. Now it is for you to decide where exactly you want to take a trade. Okay. So if the market comes closer to this particular bar, take a sell trade with the stop loss above this level. There is no way to increase the font size. Only by way of zooming you can increase it. So when you zoom these values, the font size will be increased automatically. This is a preliminary first version of our indicator. We will probably add this inside these the part of cluster settings as well in the future. But we wanted to give this particular tool very early, so we have just added as an indicator for the time. So as I told you that it gives you how does COT helps us in identifying intraday trading opportunities. I gave you already an idea about where exactly the resistance is all about. So you can take a call if there are strong resistance at these levels. So if you see again, there is a COT, both values are negative. So you know that this is a strong resistance level for the market. Again, you saw COT negative values out here. So if this can act as a strong resistance for the market, probably this levels. Okay. So this is how you can identify the possible resistance level. How to update beta version? So you need to go to general settings here and go to use beta. Once it is enabled, you will see the download option from here to update. If there is a new version available, you will see a new version update available. My version is up to date, otherwise it will be prompted to download the new version. I think there are some people who are new to this platform. This platform is called Quantower, Karthik. Yes, COT, there is a question whether the COT low should be positive for an up move and vice versa. COT low will always be positive, whether it is up move or down move. That's a normal condition. If the market is positive, okay, so you'll always see there will be from the low, there are always a chance till the close that there were more buyers, in the market. Okay. However, it can happen that and from the high there will be till the close. If the market closes at the peak, probably, then you will see some kind of a difference. But if you look at it, normally most cases where they in a normal candle, where we just highlighted with the arrows here, are all regular candles. Okay. So in this case, you'll always see COT will be low will be positive and COT low will be high will be negative in a bullish candle. And in a bearish candle, we will see more COT high values in negative terms, absolute value terms also it will be more negative values, and there will be a positive COT low. So that is the normal condition of any particular candle. Can we use COT for positional trading? You can use it, but it depends on what product that you're trading. Positional trades, if you're looking at higher time frame, possibly yes, because you will be able to understand over a longer period of time what would have happened. So maybe you can look at 30-minute bar or maybe 1 hour bar as well for this particular data. But don't look at 15-minute data and do a positional trade. So that is what we don't recommend. Do I have to wait till the candle close? Yes, because the entire calculation of COT high and low is based on the close of that particular interval. So it do not jump into a trade before you just by looking at some values keep changing. So ideally, since the data point itself is from the high to low, high to close and low to close, so you have to wait for the close of that particular interval. So see, there are a lot of data points that are there. Okay, how to view the cluster data? So you have to look at this data by scrolling the mouse here on the y-axis, so that you can see the values. Other option is, what you look at in a bar is most of the thing we look at delta. What is the total volume? All that information. So even if you don't look at the bars, you will come to know with these colors, there was a negative delta out here. There was a strong positive delta out here with this as well. So that is how the data is drawn here. There is no way I can show everything big and also show you the chart completely, because your screen, it all depends on your screen size as well. So that's why you need to scroll and make it bigger to see the values. Okay, so and if you want to see, there are values are very big and it is cannot be readable. So you need to click on the chart and scroll up and down. So it will increase the width or reduce the width of the bar. So here you see the trapped buyers here. What exactly means is that the candle closed at the bar or the top of the bar. Okay. which if the market closes at the top of the bar, it is an indication that ideally there should have been more COT low values. Okay. Whereas you see that there were more sellers in this particular bar. So the sell-off that was quite sharp out here. Okay. And there were more sellers in this from the low till the close, there were more sellers. And from the high also till the close, there were more sellers. So from high to close, having more sellers is definitely a possibility. But from low to high, most of the time it should be positive COT low value. So that is where we consider this as a trapped seller bar. Similarly, we see this as a trapped buyer bar. So what is the best combination for bearish COT or plus some delta value? So combination, see, as I told you already, now normally if it's a negative bar, okay, we will also see negative delta also. What is important for us is whether we have a negative COT low also here. That is where we will come to know uh, how strong the sellers are in this entire bar. Okay, delta gives us an indication of the selling. There are 1,039 lots were sold in this particular bar. But from the lows also there was selling, and from the highs also there was selling. So that is an indication that in this entire bar there was selling pressure across from the high and as well as from the low till the close. Can we use this for stocks? Yes, you can use it for stocks as well. What is the setting you use for stacked imbalances? Stacked imbalances settings are already there. We don't make any changes for stacked imbalances. It is the default 3 values here. Okay. And the zones are 3 by default. 2 p.m. candle. Okay, let me look at 2 p.m. candle. So I have a 15-minute interval. Let me look at 2 p.m. candle. Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. There were trapped sellers around this level because ideally what should have happened? Okay, if the market had closed in a positive note, we should have had the low to close also should have had more buyers. Whereas in this case, we see more sellers out here. Okay. And from the high also, we see more sellers out here. So they were trapped by sellers at this level. Okay. This is just to understand what exactly is happening. Like, whether there is market is pausing somewhere around this level. If there are trapped buyers, we need to see whether the market breaks this level or not, because these buyers are, if this particular high was broken because of this trapped sellers on the next couple of bars, then all the sellers would have come for cover. That is what we need to identify. Okay. So if at all these trapped sellers were there here, they would have sold. Okay. But when they will get worried, only when probably the high of that particular bar is broken. So which has not happened. So probably they will not be worried so much in this case. Numbers in delta bar is in column is number of lots. Yes, we have an option. Right now I'm seeing only in lots, but we do have an option to switch to actual size as well. If you click here, go to the general setting, display quantity in lots, or any disable it, you can see the values in actual terms as well. So see, can we use COT in detecting absorption? Yeah, in a way, you could look at it from a point of view of trapped buyers are what actually? Trapped buyers are somebody sold heavily, and someone is taking those sell limit market orders with a strong limit buy orders at every level that they get it. So yeah, in a way, the trapped buyer you can consider as absorption kind of an indicator. Why detecting tap buyers and sellers is important? It is important for us to know where exactly the market could see some kind of a strong reversal. Why? Because I'll tell you why. If the market, if there are trapped sellers out here, okay. So what will happen? They may put a stop loss at this high or this high or some kind of a high they will put. So the significance of that is known when these highs are broken. So if the market breaks this high, I mean, as a trader, okay, we don't know what kind of a trader these people were selling, okay. But let's assume if he is a very short-term trader, what he will do? He will place a stop loss around this level or this level, okay, or maybe at this level, okay. So the intensity of a possible reversal and strong upside because of short covering can be tracked through this, you know. That is where, if you see a lot of trapped sellers, you will see if the market breaks certain levels, there is a possibility of short covering happening very quickly, and the move could be quite sharp as well. Best time frame, I would say, uh, maybe 15 minutes and above. Ideally, don't go for 5 minute interval. Just look at 15 minute as a minimum interval. You can look at 5 minute, but you may have a lot of whipsaws. So ideally, look for a 15-minute interval. Yeah, see, this is not a short-term trend reversal kind of a, like scalping kind of a indicator. It is for people who want to identify what is happening, whether the trend is continuing or whether we see some kind of a trap buyers and sellers. So that is where we want to identify using this particular indicator. Okay, so let's look at some other questions. There are lots of questions. Shubham is saying COT comes to 49, adding, no, you have to also use the value of the low bar as well. It is correct that I calculated. In the past example, if you want, we can go back and check this as well. I don't know which bar was that. I don't remember which bar. So we can take any bar, not a problem. So we can look at this from here. So high of this particular bar was 42,309. Let's look at where is 42,309. It's okay, same bar. Yes, this is a bar that we looked at. So we had a low which is at 4297. From here, okay. So we have 7 plus 6, 97.35. Yeah. So we can calculate from here. So 7 plus 6, 13, 13 plus 2, 15, 20, 37, 37 plus 6, 43. 43 were negative values. And then we have 8, 15, 23, 37, 43, 54, 54 plus 4, 58, 76, 82, 82 plus 25, 107, 109, 109 minus 48, right? Let me add the indicators. So 43, right? 109 minus 43 is 66. Yeah. You can see this value. Okay, so there is a seeing the session for the first time. What will be the use case of COT? I think already explained. So I will show you higher time frame. 1 second. Okay, so the rectangle, ideally, what should happen? You know, why we put rectangle is whether there was the value should have been this particular value should have been negative in an ideal circumstances, but we have a positive value out here. Okay, that's why we put this highlighted here. Same way, if you look at this. This is a negative candle. We have a positive value. That's why it's highlighted here. We should have had a negative value here. So if it is completely different than what in an ideal scenario it should be, it is highlighted with the circle. And this indicates that the trend is strong in that particular direction. Like if it is on the top, the trend is bearish. If it is at the bottom, the trend is positive. Don't we get a similar info from the cumulative delta? No, because cumulative delta is the calculation based on the delta. As I told you, delta is nothing but the buyers and sellers for the entire bar. Here we are not looking at entire bar. We are looking at from the high till the close and from the low till the close. So that is the information. So okay, I think I've answered most of the questions. So if at all anybody has a question, you can raise your hand. I will unmute and you can ask your question. Naresh Jaju.
Hi.
Hi, Naresh.
Hi.
Just to interrupt, if those who, there are some people who probably are comfortable in Hindi, you can ask questions in Hindi also. So no problem.
Yeah, sure. So my question is actually, agar wo on top, if
No,
it's
you can
negative.
if you are comfortable in English, you ask in English only.
Yeah,
I'm
thank you
telling
so
people
much.
I'm telling people who probably can speak in Hindi better. So for those people, I can answer in Hindi also.
Right. My question is, so for a negative candle, the
Mhm.
COT should be on top, and the left hand side would usually show the number of sellers, and the right hand side on the top will show the trapped buyers in a minus. I mean, in a
No,
circle,
no, no,
right?
no, 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 no. Okay, let me explain. Let's not look at in a normal what is left side value is COT low, which means from the low till the close. So what is the close?
All
This is the
right.
low, right? From the low
Mhm.
till the close, what is the net delta?
Okay.
Okay. COT high means from the high till the close. So from this level till the close, what is the net delta? Regular delta is nothing but the entire candle buyers minus buy volume minus sell volume. Correct? Is that you are aware?
Okay. Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
In this case, we are looking at the delta from the low till the close and delta from the high till the close.
High
So on
till
the
the
left side, we plot this as this on the COT low, and right side is COT high. If I have to give you information, this is COT low and this is COT high. Even on this also, left side is COT low and right side is COT high. Okay.
high.
Only
Okay.
thing is we want to show this information in a more interactive way. Okay. That is why, we did this coloring and all those things. So
Right.
this will give us an information. So in an ideal condition, what will happen? If it is a green candle, we will always see positive COT low
From the
value
bottom. Yes.
or negative COT high value. Okay.
High value.
Negative high value. Same thing happens in a negative candle. Only thing is it will be shown on the top of the bar. Okay, because it's a
Right.
negative candle, you'll always see a positive COT low and a negative COT high. Okay, it's just that because it's a negative candle, we're showing it on the top of the bar. So that's it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, Sandeep, you can ask your question.
Hey, Roshan, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
A very informative session here. This is really helpful. My question was, on COT indicator, is it possible to set an alert wherever, when we see there's a trapped seller or buyer based on, the information?
No, at this point of time, no. At this point of time, no. This, as I told you, this is the first version of the indicator. And based on everybody's feedback, we would like to enhance the functionality. Okay, we have our own ideas. Okay, but it is our job is to present those ideas to you, how you will interpret this data. And over a period of time, we will definitely get a feedback from everybody to do add-on value addition to this particular indicator. Indicator does not change, but the way we show the coloring or way we show a certain value addition, we can always improve this particular thing. At this point of time, it is not enough.
Okay, got it. Yeah, reason was because, this is, you are suggesting to look into the higher time frame, right? 15 minutes or 30.
Yes.
Whereas when we do trading, it is mostly on the lower time frame. So if some
Correct.
kind of
So
alert
when I
comes,
say higher time frame, again, 15 minutes is definitely not a higher time frame. But
I
at least
agree,
15, at least 15 minutes. Okay. If you're because for what is important is that I want to avoid any whipsaws coming from this particular thing by putting it in a short-term interval, very short-term interval. So that is exactly the reason I suggested at least 15-minute interval. Okay.
Got it. Yeah, because there are multiple ways to identify trap buyers and sellers, right? Like
Correct. No, this is one of them. I'm not saying that this is the only option, right?
Yeah.
You have multiple ways to understand this. This will give some additional inputs to you, like when the market is seen. If at all today's day, if you see, you can see right from the beginning it was you would have seen. You don't see any values at the bottom at all, right?
True.
So it is an indication, but that is where when you see some kind of values continuously forming at the bottom, you could probably understand market may be consolidating, and then you see suddenly you see some kind of upside, then okay, market trend is changing.
Got it. Okay, I'll wait for an update on that. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, anybody else? I think I may have missed few questions, so if you can ask those questions, it'll be nice. Yeah, Bharat, you can ask your question.
हाँ, रोशन सर, गुड इवनिंग।
गुड इवनिंग भरत।
रोशन सर, मैं आपसे पहले भी रिक्वेस्ट कर चुका हूं कि अभी हम लोग पोस्ट एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं, पोस्ट सेशन एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इस चीज को हम लाइव कैसे देख सकते हैं? उस टाइप का कुछ वो अरेंजमेंट हो सकता है क्या सर?
So we will think about it. I'm not like, during the daytime, we are also a little busy. We'll think about some kind of a solution. Okay.
नहीं सर, मैं समझ सकता हूँ सर, लेकिन मतलब पर्टिकुलरली मेन तो बेनिफिट जब ही हो पाएगा ना, मतलब जो भी मतलब ये इंडिकेटर्स वगैरह अपन कर रहे हैं।
करेक्ट।
मैंने पहले भी एक बार आपसे रिक्वेस्ट किया था कि मैं IFL का मैंने वो किया हुआ है, लेकिन मतलब जब तक ये लाइव मार्केट में इसको वो नहीं कर पाएंगे, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे तो इतना ज्यादा टेम्परेचर रहता है।
We can look at probably crude oil right now. That is something that. But it is, see, in live market, what happens is we may have to spend at least 2 to 3 hours minimum. Let's look at that. So you can see that now, from these levels, market is showing weakness. This is the first point that you could see there was a weakness here. There is some support around this level, but it was broken. So yeah, so we can look at this probably post to 26th or something like that. We can think about. We'll keep one session during the market hours.
I'll really appreciate sir. क्योंकि वो जब तक चीज नहीं होगी ना सर, तब तक हम लोगों के, हम जैसे लोगों के लिए इम्प्लीमेंट करना थोड़ा मुश्किल है सर, इसलिए मैं रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ।
No problem.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, anybody else has a question? Okay, please show me some uptrend COTs. Okay, let's look at previous session. So yeah, you can see here there was a positive COT trend forming around these levels. Okay, there were traps sellers here. This indicator is already there, so if you are already using it, you can start looking into this. No, I already told, do not use it in five minutes. So again, somebody is asking a question about 5 minutes. No, I don't see anybody raising hand. Okay, Nikhil, you can ask a question. Nikhil? Nalin, you can ask your question.
Hi, Roshan, thanks.
Hi, Nalin.
If we could just see the candle on the 13th Jan 10 o'clock for Bank Nifty.
13th Jan, is it? No,
yeah, 13th Jan 10 o'clock, because there is a huge COT high. 13th Jan.
You're talking a 15-minute interval only, right?
Yeah, 15 minutes. Yeah, okay, your data is 9:30. Yeah, that's good. So means in a way on just the previous candle has both the COTs on top, and this, so minus 11 and minus 314, and the next candle moves to 162 minus 930, So is this sort of a shift in COT is an indication of a change in trend if we forget about what is happening towards the right of it?
Could you ask a question again?
So
this is a
if you-
negative candle. This showing trend is weakness. Okay, fine.
Correct.
So,
And then there is a
then-
sudden, then there is a negative high COT on bottom minus 930.
Correct. So this is a normal scenario actually.
Right.
But yes, you see some kind of a sell. There is, even though market went up to this level till the close, there were more sellers on this particular bar. But what is interesting for us is this particular bar, where market started showing strength. Okay. Thereafter, this level was held on to this for a while, right? So
Right.
for us, this was a negative again. This was a negative one. Once all these levels were taken out.
Right.
1 second.
Is there any literature you have put together for this? Because I was downloading that COT data from the time and sales, and I was trying to calculate on my own so that I get a better hang of it. But basically, what I understood
look at
is
1 minute interval. By that time you calculate, you will
no, not for this, but for basically, I'm trying to get a sense of what it means. Like once
you
you
already
understand,
showed you how the calculation is done. It's simple.
Correct. Right.
If you are looking at time and sales, look at the lowest value, and from that low point till the close, you check what is the delta. Simple.
Correct.
And from the high till the delta. So that is.
So in a sense, like in a Marubozu candle, one side will be 0 on the COT. If it opens, if it closes at high, then the right side COT high will be close to 0.
Correct.
And a vice versa, right?
Correct. It will be close to 0, but or it will be slightly negative because it depends on where exactly it closes. But if it closes at the high of the day or low of that high or low of that particular bar, you will see a very negligible value on the other sides.
Yeah. So in this case, the COT low will be almost equal to the delta. Almost, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Nikhil, you can still ask a question. You raised your hand. Nikhil? Okay, nobody is asking questions. Let me still see some. Copy trading feature, we are not sure as of now. We will let you know. Okay, there is. Okay, Sandeepan. Yeah, you can ask a question, Sandeep.
Yeah, hi. Sorry to ask this question in this forum. Actually, I'm a new user of this Quantower. I just started using from last 2 days. So experience is pretty good. So thanks to the team and kudos to the team who you made such a beautiful thing. My question is, I just went your website and saw that you are supporting FIAs and all these brokers. Okay, so that I can extend the data and all these things, but I'm not getting anywhere regarding this apart from True Data and QuantDL, all sort of things, IIFL, but there is no sign of FIAs or something like that. So
there is FIAs. If you go to, as I told you, I think you may be having the version which is not beta version. So you enable beta. Okay, so you go to settings here, general setting, enable beta, and update it to the version which is 1.0.65. Okay. So we see what we do is when we add any connection, we wait for a week or two before we make this available in the final version. Okay. So we already have it because if there are certain bugs or something, we would like to fix that before we make this available to everybody. So that is why it is only available in beta right now. and it is already there. If you go here, you will see Fire's connection.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So how in which settings I have to click the beta version? I mean,
General setting. You can see here. You can go. If you are on Telegram channel, okay,
Yeah.
of Telegram support group.
Yeah.
We have already today from yesterday I have started creating hashtags for everything that I put. Okay, so if at all you want, if I say download beta, you just search for beta, hashtag beta, and you will be able to know exactly where the screenshot has been shared with the beta as the hashtag. So this way, you'll be, instead of asking questions multiple times the same questions, simply do a search on our support chat. So I will be keep adding more and more hashtags for every question that comes in from our customers or users, and this way, you will be able to search very easily if at all you have any questions. So without asking us, first you do a search on our support chat, and you will be able to do this thing. So you'll be able to search.
Which Telegram channel? This is Quantower India or Quantower?
No, there is a Quantower support chat. So at the start of the webinar, I shared it on the group, on the chat, our Telegram channel, all the Telegram channel details. So I will share it once again for everybody. So you can just join there. You can also join, again, I shared just now, so you can check that.
Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, I think there are no more questions. In case you have any questions, do reach out to us on our support chat. I already put the link. A link, and you can join us and ask any questions there. We are there to help you at any point of time. So thanks a lot for attending this webinar. And